Hey friends, welcome back to our channel. I'm Luna Lore, and if you're new here, hello. Welcome to another episode of Good Girl Gone Boss. On this channel, we talk a lot about personal development, personal finances, everything from making money, saving money, investing money, making smart financial decisions, and overall just being a better you. So if you like conversations like that, definitely subscribe and join the party. And also, don't forget to hit that like button because it really helps me out. It really helps this video out with this whole YouTube algorithm. So definitely hit that like button and help a girl out, okay? So if you clicked on this video, then you read we are talking about my favorite topic ever, and that is personal finances. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think that my relationship with money is very healthy. If there's one thing I'm confident in, it is my relationship with my personal finances, okay? And if I can be assistance to this world and help just one person with this video, I will gladly take on that responsibility. I'm just really passionate about personal finances, guys. It makes me so excited. And with my educational background and my 9-to-5 career, being in accounting and finance, it all just makes sense. You know, I love finances. I love helping people. You put it together, boom. We have a video on how to budget and save money. I just really wish they would teach this stuff in like high school, but no, they want to teach us that pi is 3.14159. And I have never used that in my adult life until right now. But you know what I did need to use in my adult life and what I had to figure out on my own? How to budget and save money, how to invest money, how to file my own personal taxes, all of these things. But you know what? Let me stop. This is not a rant about the public school system. I'm just gonna get right into these tips on how to budget and save your money. So tip number one is to create an actual budget of your money, something visual that you can see. Creating a budget gives you a visible, well thought out plan on how you're going to allocate any money that's coming in. It lets you see how much money you're projecting is coming in and also how much money is actually coming in. It allows you to see how much money you're projecting to spend and how much money you actually do spend. So that financial plan of how you're going to spend any money that comes in is vital because you know what they say, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And we're not failing with our money this year, honey. No, we're not, my love. We're succeeding with our money. We're exceeding all expectations with our money. Our bank accounts are going into overflow. So yes, it's just really important to have an idea of what you're going to spend your money on when it comes in, because if you don't know what your limits are and how it impacts the rest of your finances, you're just going to continue to make the same mistakes over and over, month to month, and wonder why there's no money coming in. A budget allows you to see, I spend like 50% of my money on food and entertainment, but I'm not eating anything so divine. That's when you're able to analyze and just be a little bit smarter with your money. I'll give you an example. If I give you $100 right now, you're probably gonna spend it on the first two things that come to mind, first three things, and it might not be the best logical, analytical way to spend your money. You might spend it on something that you want, but it might not be the smartest and most thought out allocation of your funds. An extreme case of this is people who win the lottery and then go broke or file for bankruptcy just a few years later. And this is not uncommon. CNBC actually reported that lottery winners are more likely to file for bankruptcy within 3 to 5 years than the average American. Why is this? Because they didn't plan for those funds. It came in and they just spent it however they deemed fit. They didn't really think it out long term or even short term. So I say all this to say that you need a physical budget. I actually have one available on the Good Girls Gone Boss website. Although it made me so happy and it meant the world to me if you purchased mine, you really don't have to purchase mine. You just have to have one. You can create one on your own. The one I have is an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll walk you through how I use my own spreadsheet that is very similar to the one on the website at the end of the video. But if you don't have that one, you can create one for yourself. If you're really good with Excel, you can create one on Excel. When I was in high school, I created one with pen and paper. The only difference now is that as an adult, I have way more expenses than I did in high school. There wasn't really much to write out, but now when I have expenses coming in from left, right, and center, insurance, different streams of revenue, subscriptions, it just all becomes a lot. So having an Excel spreadsheet that I can copy and paste and I can use multiple times over and over and over again, it just saves me so much time. It's so convenient. So I like to use my Excel budget spreadsheet. It doesn't need to be anything too intimidating. I totally understand if dealing with your finances makes you a little bit apprehensive or a little bit agitated or a little anxious, but the key factor to dealing with your finances and dealing with those negative feelings towards your finances is just to tackle it. Because whether you tackle it or not, whatever issues you're facing from last month are only going to repeat themselves now, and it's only going to create a snowball effect because you're going to have the same problems from last month. This month's going to create more problems for next month, and it's an ongoing cycle. So just tackle it hands-on. You can use the spreadsheet that I have on Good Girls Gone Boss because it's very user-friendly, or you can create your own, but I just encourage you to just tackle it. Just tackle it. It's okay. It's okay. Definitely create a visible budget for yourself. Now, tip number 2, someone might say, oh, this is pretty self-explanatory, but not actually, not all the time. And tip number 2 is to determine your income. Now, I know it might sound crazy, like how do you not know your income? But a lot of people don't, especially if you work in an industry that's sales, commissions-based, tip-based, even hourly. If you work on a salary that is like a base plus a variable, it's hard to determine what your actual income is. Also, if you have multiple streams of revenue, it's easy for people to think that they're making more money than they are because they don't factor in like the expenses. For example, you might have a side business where you're making $100 per client, but in order to service that client, it costs you about $35, and you're not factoring that in. You're thinking that you're making $100 when in actuality you're making about $65. So determining what your actual income is very important. One thing I would recommend if you do have an income that is based on a variable, for example, waitressing where you rely heavily on tips, or maybe a car salesman where you rely a lot on commissions. One thing I would recommend is that you add up your earnings for the last 3 months and divide by 3 in order for you to get an average amount per month that you're making. And then once you have that amount, subtract 10% of that just to be on the safe side, so you have a pretty safe income figure to base your budget off of. Tip number 3 is to track your expenses. Now, this is the one I think a lot of us, we avoid because we just don't want to face the facts that, my love, you've been spending about $800 a month on food. And why? And why? What have you been eating? Where is it from? Uber Eats. That Uber Eats is a devil, huh? You'll be spending $30 on $12 meals on Uber Eats. Okay? DoorDash, Foodora, Skip the Dishes. They are all dangerous. Okay, but we often avoid just facing the fact. It's hard for you to budget if you're not being realistic or being honest to yourself about how much you're actually spending and on what. So this doesn't only include the big purchases, it literally includes everything from $2 coffees all the way up to $1,500 vacations. You need to track everything, every single dollar that you're spending, and put it into your spreadsheet. From then, you'll be able to assess and analyze and see, is it necessary that I'm spending this much money on these things? Maybe instead of going to the movies every single week, maybe I can stay home, watch a Netflix series or something. Maybe I don't need to spend $30 on a $12 meal on Uber Eats. Maybe sometimes we cooking at home. Maybe sometimes, do I need this gym membership? I mean, I've only been once. Maybe I should start working out at home. Tip number 4 for budgeting and saving your money is to use the 70-30 rule. It's basically the principle that you spend 70% of your income on wants and needs, and then the other 30% you're putting towards savings and investments. If the 70-30 rule doesn't work for you, your expenses are way too close to how much you make, then try to use the 90-10 rule, where 90% of your income is going towards needs and wants, and 10% of your income is going towards savings and investments. And if the 90-10 rule is still too tight for you, you definitely need to make more money or spend less. It's just the equation, you know, how much you make and how much you spend, there should be a gap. And if the gap is too close, that means either you're not making enough or you're spending too much. So you've got to either make more or spend less or both. It's just a basic equation. You have to figure out, do you want to make more money or spend less or both? If you need some examples on side hustles, shameless plug, I have 2 videos up on some side hustle ideas. You should definitely check it out to find some ideas or whatever. You might find something that you want to do. It might spark an idea of your own for you to make some extra money on the side. Okay, so tip number 5 is to save your coins, literally. So there's this principle that how you do the small things is how you do the big things. If you see a quarter lying on the floor somewhere in your house and you just don't even mind it because you don't even care about it, you're kind of subconsciously developing a mentality that not all money is important, when in actuality it is important and it does add up. So if you program yourself to value a dime, value 25 cents, then you are conditioning yourself to care about and be responsible for larger sums of money as well. If you see 25 cents on the floor and you don't care about saving it, then what would stop you from caring about $25, $2,500? And when you come to a place where you have $250,000, what's to say you will be responsible for that? So save your coins wherever you can, literally even in the grocery store, okay? Sometimes you're gonna pick up the Honey O's instead of the Honey Nut Cheerios, okay? And if you just aesthetically don't wanna see that great value cereal box in your home, it's okay. It's okay. You could just, you know, put it in a cute glass jar or whatever. If your friend comes over and is like, oh girl, why do you have the great value jam in your fridge? You could tell your friend, you know what, you can close my fridge door and you can also close my front door on your way out, because you and I, we not here. No, but on a serious note, if we're being honest, like, who cares? Who cares about other people's opinion? Don't go broke trying to act rich, because anyone who wants to critique you and how you spend your money, you have to question, like, are you even financing me? Who are you to even have an opinion on how I spend my money? If you're not financing me, your opinion holds no weight here. Don't focus on other people. Don't focus on what other people are trying to do. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses or the Williams or the Browns or the Instagrams, okay? Don't focus on anyone else when it comes to your own personal finances, because that relationship with your money is very personal. It's a one-to-one. It doesn't involve everybody else. It's not you and Joe Schmo and your neighbor and your ex-boyfriend and your sister. Your relationship with your money needs to be very personal, and in order to get it to that place where it can be very personal, it needs to be very strong. Otherwise, you're gonna have people around you constantly making commentary on how you're spending your money. Why are you doing that? Why are you buying this and you're always broke? Why are you doing that and you haven't invested? But when you're good with your money, you are on a one-to-one basis with your money. It doesn't matter what anybody tells you. You're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. Trust me. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. I got it. Me and my finances were good. It's kind of like a relationship with a significant other, you know? When you guys are strong, it doesn't matter what anybody else says from the outside, because you're like, don't worry about it, sweetheart. We're good. Okay. All right, so tip number 6 is to save automatically. Now, what I do with my bank, I have a certain amount that comes out of my checking account into my savings every single month. And then ever so often, when it reaches a certain threshold, I'll take that money out of my savings and I'll put it into a TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account. One of the most common features of a TFSA is that any interest earned on the money in your TFSA is tax-free, and also any money that you withdraw is tax-free. However, I personally love to use it because I can't access it in my app. So when I go into my app just to, you know, monitor how much money I have at the moment, that money is out of sight, out of mind. I don't even have it to consider. So it's kind of like bonus money for me. So I have my checking accounts, I have my savings, and then I also have the TFSA, but it doesn't even show up in my app altogether. So it isn't even a factor when I'm looking at my financial summary. So that's an option. You can definitely check in with your bank. It typically is a free service that they will just automatically take the money out of your checkings for you and put it into your savings. Banks love when you use their savings account. With your money being in their savings account, they basically get to do what they want with it. Another common principle in finance is $1 today is worth $1 tomorrow. Sorry guys, I meant to say $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. So if they have your dollar in their bank, then they're able to invest it and use it for their own purposes, their own gains, because typically the interest rate on savings accounts in your bank is lower than the rate of inflation. So I'm just pulling these numbers out of nowhere, but just so you guys get the concept, like if you have $100 in a savings account, years from now, that $100 might only be worth $95, but the interest that you made on it is only about $2. If they had your $100 back then, they were able to invest it and probably made more than the 0.05% interest rate that you have, or whatever it is. That's why if you have a large sum in your savings account, you might want to look into investing a portion of that. Depending on who you ask, the whole like investing thing can sound very confusing and intimidating. I promise you it's not that complicated as some people might make it seem. If you guys want to see a video on investing, definitely let me know, because I think that would be a really cool video to do. I would love to do a video on that if you guys are interested. Since we're on the topic of automatically saving, another option is that you can use those apps that round up your savings. I know a lot of people use this, and it's actually a great way to save without even realizing that you're saving. One app for Canada is Milo, and for the US is Acorns. So basically what they do is, let's say you use your card to buy Starbucks, it was $8.30. So it will round up to $9 and put 70 cents into your savings account for you. You can set it up so that they're putting in a certain amount for you. So for every transaction, they might round up to the nearest $10, or they might put $5 in for every transaction. It really depends on you. You can determine how much you want to get sent into your savings account automatically. And it's just a great way for you to save money without even really noticing that you're saving money. So that's always good. Tip number 7 for saving money is to use the half your bank account rule. I believe it was Jay-Z who said it. If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. Now, this isn't major purchases like housing or transportation, maybe buying a new car or whatnot, but it's just a rule of thumb to use when you're considering whether or not you should buy luxury leisure items. For example, if you wanted to buy a purse that costs $3,000, but you only have $5,000 in your bank account, you probably should not be buying the purse. Now, if you wanted to buy a purse from Aldo and it's $60, but you have $5,000 in your bank account, it's a little bit more room in there, so it makes a little bit more sense. I personally think that's a really good rule of thumb for considering, is something too expensive and can you afford it? I mean, we all want nice things and we all love nice things, but does it financially make any sense at the end of the day? Does it financially make any sense for me to buy a purse or buy shoes or go on a vacation that costs more than what would be left over in my bank account? And typically, that doesn't make much sense at all. That's just a little rule of thumb to use if you're considering on whether or not you should buy a leisure luxury item. Okay, so tip number 8 is to use the 24-hour rule. So sometimes we do have these impulses where, yeah, maybe you want to buy the purse. Okay, it's $2,500 and you have more than $5,000 in your bank account. Okay, you have more than enough money, but you're wondering, should I buy it? Should I not? It might be something that you weren't thinking about buying, but you walk past the Louis store and now look at this predicament. A really good rule to use is the 24-hour rule, because it gives you 24 hours to see if it's something that you even want. If in 24 hours you're still thinking about the purse, you still really want it, you still are just thinking about all the outfits in your closet that you would pair it with, if you keep on thinking about this item and you just must have it, then it's okay to go back and buy it. Using the 24-hour rule prevents you from those unnecessary splurges, heat of the moment, impulse buys that you really don't need and you regret in like a week or so or a couple days. If you can go longer than 24 hours just to test out to see, do you really want it? That'd be even better, because then you're only spending money on things that you truly want. Which brings us to our next point, which is to treat yourself, but then also treat your savings account. When you do find yourself in a position where you're like, I really want that, I've been thinking about it, it's something that I need, but maybe it costs a lot of money, or maybe you just can't really justify the price, but you still really want it. A nice thing to do is to treat your bank account as well. So if the belt was $800 or the sneakers were $900 or whatever, put that same amount into your savings account. It's gonna put a dent into your bank account. However, at least you put the same amount that you treated yourself with, you put that same amount and treated your savings account with too. So it kind of lessens the blow, kind of makes you feel a little bit better about spending so much money or whatever. And then the final tip is to be kind to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Take it easy. You just might fall off budget 1 month, but there's always another month to make it back and get back on track. There's always an opportunity to make money. If you spend a little bit more than you need to, it is okay. You can get back on track. 1 month you might make more money than you need to. You might pick up a side hustle. You might pick up another stream of revenue. It's okay. Currency comes and goes. That's how money works. It comes, it goes, it comes, it goes. If you put so much pressure on yourself, budgeting and your personal finances is not going to become fun for you. It's going to become a topic that makes you just super anxious. It might make you feel like you're suffering in silence or suffering internally, and we just don't want that. You can turn this into a game, find a way to make it fun for you, make it exciting for you, but don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay. We've all made purchases that we probably shouldn't have made. We've all made less money than we thought we would make for the month. We've all spent more money than we told ourselves we would. It happens. It's okay. But as long as you're taking ownership of what you're doing and you're taking responsibility, you're grabbing your finances by the bullhorn, then you're riding it out. I don't know why I did that. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. And the fact that you're actively trying to fix it is the first step. It's the most important step. And you're gonna be good. This is your year. You've got it under control. I believe in you. You believe in you. I know you do. It's gonna be great. So for me, a way that I am able to make my finances really fun is I use my personal spreadsheet, which I'll show you guys. It's very beginner friendly. So even if you're not too comfortable with Excel, you're not comfortable with creating formulas and stuff, all of it is automated. So all you literally have to do is enter in the figures for every category. You can modify and customize the categories as well, but I'll just walk you through and show you guys like how I do things. Once again, this budget is available on the Good Girls Gone Boss website, but you don't need to use this specific one. If you'd like, you can create one if you're really good with it, but of course, I would love for you to buy mine. You could buy mine. I mean, I did create it for y'all or whatever, but so up here we have my monthly budget. You can just change it and it'll be, let's do Lynn's monthly bossed up budget, because you know I'm bossed up, honey, or whatever. So we'll do job number 1. I'll do corporate job, right? Job number 1. And then job number 2, I'll do YouTube. Job number 3, I'll do trophy life hair. Job number 3, interest income. Okay, so budget. How much do I think I'm gonna make? We'll do $8,000. YouTube also, I think $6,000. Trophy life hair will do $5,000. Interest income $4,000. These are just random figures, okay, guys? And then mortgage, I'll do $2,000. Phone, I'll do $200. Internet $100. Electricity $50. And then you have all of these categories where you have daily living, business expense, transportation, health, insurance, education, charities. So I literally go through every single category and just create something. So let's see, groceries, I'll put 200. Savings, I'll put 500. Student loan, credit card debt, we'll put $10. Hallelujah. Books, $25 a month on a book. Dentist, we'll put $200. I love going to the dentist, honey. Car insurance, and all of this, right? So you have categories that you're spending all of that on. And then, like right over here on the side, we have a graph that is created, a pie chart that'll tell me how much percentage-wise is being spent on things. So if I look at this, 66% of my income is being spent on home expenses. Of course, this is just a rough estimate. I literally just threw these figures in here, but it becomes really fun because then at the end of the month, I come back and I do my actual amounts. So my corporate job, I thought I was gonna make 8,000. I really did make 8,000. There's no difference. YouTube, I thought I was gonna make 6,000. I really made 7,000. So I made 1,000 more than I thought. Trophy life hair, I thought I was gonna make 5,000. I made 8,000. And then interest income, I thought I'd make 4,000. I only made 3,500. Let's do our expenses. So I thought I would spend $2,000 on mortgage. I did. Phone, I thought it was 200, but you know, long distance calls to Bay, so $250. internet, it was $100 for real. And electricity, I thought it'd be $50, but it was actually only $40. Each category, it gives me the budget, it gives me the actual, and then it gives me the difference. Then I'll go into here, savings. I did 500 into savings. I paid over, so I did that amount. Books, I spent $27 on books. And over here, dentist, I spent $500 on the dentist. Car, I spent $300, all of this. So my budgeted expenses, I have a graph over here, and then when I come down here, my actual expenses, I have another graph to show, okay, I really thought I would be spending a lot less on health, which is the 6% right here, this 6%. But in actuality, I spent way more than my budget had permitted. So you're able to look at your pie graph and see and analyze that way if you are a visual learner, or you can look at just the numbers if you're a number learner. Right over here, we have the summary. So we have total income, actual income, the difference, total expense, actual expense, and then the difference. It shows up red on my spreadsheet because I didn't conditionally format this version, but the one on the side does turn green when you've made more money than less, and it also turns green when you spent less than you projected to spend as well. So yeah, that's the spreadsheet. That's the one I created for myself. This is very similar to the one that is on the website. You have your little tabs here that you can use for every month all the way up to December. But if you do end up getting the spreadsheet and you have literally any questions at all, you can email me or email the website for any troubleshooting or any issues with the sheet at all. It also comes with instructions as well, but it is pretty user friendly. But yes, hopefully I gave you guys some tips that were helpful for your personal budgeting and saving. Let's have a discussion down below. What are some tips and tricks that you use to help your budgeting, to stay on track, to help you to save, help you to budget, just to help you have better control over your money? I would love to know down below in the comments. So, leave your comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys in our next video. I love you guys so much. Love you to the moon and back. Be true to you. Bye.